Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are reading chapters 49 and 50 of Tower of God. So in the last couple of chapters, we had Baum going through some stuff, a little bit of a crisis, I think, in that he was very aware that there were a lot of people who he saw as teammates, as friends, as people that he had been going to these classes with in their little cafeteria moments that are really cute, are very much here for their own personal gain, which doesn't really make sense in Baum's head, I don't think. There were a few quotes in that chapter which I love some of the moments of us getting to see Baum's thought process of him trying to wrap his head around why people are acting the way they are, and him just not being able to understand why they would fight each other, because in his brain they're a team, and if they're a team they work together and they should just be able to trust each other and get along because that's what teams do. And instead he has all of these people who have their own motives, they're all have their own plans, and they're betraying each other, and they're maneuvering and trying to get the most points for themselves, even if that means attacking their own teammates, as we saw with Dorsey and Ho. So Baum's just really not comprehending what's going on, really, I don't think. So I really feel like this is going to be something that really shifts Baum's perspective, at least about the people around him. I hope that he doesn't totally lose his sense of trust, because he does have people who legitimately want to help him and are his friends, but at the same time I think that he is going to lose some of that innocence that he has had up to this point. I feel like this is definitely a big moment for him. But we ended off the last chapter with Quant and Baum helping each other out, because they had Ho with Rachel holding her hostage and injuring her, which seems like an extreme to go to, but that happened. And then we had this group of spear bearers that were supposed to be helping out Hats, but they ran away, and now they're kind of leading some kind of revolution thing of their own, and they've decided to fight Quant because that's the only way they can win, because they don't have who's it. I don't know who's it on this team. I don't know if it matters, because there's so much other stuff going on that the whole hide and seek game has kind of been forgotten in the meantime. So we had them kind of splitting up, Baum going to help Rachel, Quant going to take care of these spear bearers, and that was kind of where we ended it, of Baum doing his thing where he was just really good at using Shinsu. Even Quant didn't really expect him to be able to pull it off, but he did, was able to push Ho back in some way, get Rachel and take her away from this kind of hostage situation, and now it's just a matter of the fallout of that. I don't really know what's gonna happen. I feel like, I don't know how we're gonna deal with the whole situation. We have the signal is gone, the other team being able to see what's going on. I don't know if that's because the teachers and rankers and stuff that are overlooking this test have decided to intervene in some way, or what's going on. But yeah, looks like we're going to see how we deal with Ho and find out what we're gonna do about Rachel getting injured, and just a lot. There's a lot with this team. I thought that the other team A had a lot going on, just because there were so many different plans and new information being thrown around, because Kuhn's just being a master manipulator in that one. But no, this team's got a lot. So let's just get into chapter 49. Okay, chapter 49, we're back with Dorsey beating up these fishermen. I don't think this is going to be much of a fight for her. Honestly, I think she's got this. Oh, is an interesting dynamic between these two characters though, because I've already talked about how the I don't know, the more aggressive guy, he tends to be more about how can he place himself in the best place so that he succeeds, he's victorious in some way. He wanted to be on Dorsey's side when he thought that that would put him in the best position, whereas this guy seems a little bit more noble. He seems a little bit more honorable. He kind of reminds me of what we saw with Hats, of him being very supportive of kind of this warrior culture thing, whereas he seems a little bit more, I always call him the knight guy, but he always seems kind of like a knight character fitting with that kind of chivalrous culture. Maybe, I don't know him super well, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a facade. I don't know. This team is chaotic, so it could mean anything. Ooh, look at her move though, just dodging out of the way. She is very good at moving around though. We saw that with the chase scene, that little chase scene we had with Anak and Dorsey during their test. Ooh, yeah, that's gotta hurt. I don't think if he stands up from that, he's a fighter. Lots of talk of people being monsters. Oof, got another bloody nose from getting hit. He's been punched a lot by Dorsey during this. Look at her scheming about taking down a ranker. I mean, Dorsey seems like maybe the best choice because she sort of already has a lot of power on her side because she's done a bunch of training and she's been accepted as a princess of Jihad, so like she already has a lot of control over her abilities. Like we've already talked about her being one of the few people who is used to there being a bunch of Shinsu, which is like not what a lot of them have dealt with before. So I think that she's far better prepared for what the tower has to throw her way than a lot of the other people. So like maybe she could hold her own against Quant and other rankers. It's kind of hard to say because like the only other princess of Jihad that we've really seen is Anak, but she's like not properly trained as a princess of Jihad. She just sort of took the title from her mother. So that's different from like actually training and being accepted into the princesses of Jihad. It makes me sad that Endorsi sees herself as a bad person. Like the last chapter, the chapter before, when she's like, it's just us bad guys now or something like that. And I was like, that breaks my heart a little bit because I like Endorsi and I understand that she's like not pure good. Obviously, she's flawed. But I think that like she legitimately wants to be a good person. You know what I mean? Because someone who's like, we see as evil, they usually don't see themselves that way. You know, they usually see themselves as like doing the right thing or like justified in their actions in some way. Or even if they see themselves as evil, it's kind of like a badge of honor. Like they kind of see being evil or bad in some way being an accomplishment. Whereas like I feel like Endorsi is kind of somber about how she sees herself as not being a good person, which I think says more about her morality and like wanting to be something else. But like she grew up in such a violent and competitive environment that she didn't have a chance to be anything else, and she had to adapt to the situation that she was in to survive and to be able to just eat food, you know? So I feel like Endorsi is far more kind on like a natural level than she wants to admit to herself because it's never been a useful thing for her to foster in herself. Ooh, interesting line of everyone says that as they leave me, because I think that that is such an important thing to Endorsi because we talked before about, well, I've talked before about Endorsi just really wanting connection with people. Like she wants affection. I talked about that in the last reaction that I did of her just being desperate for that attention and that affection and wanting people close to her. And I'm sure that the only people that were ever close to her were like the people she was competing with, which people have corrected me, not anything directly connected to being a princess of Jihad. It was like the family that she grew up in before getting accepted. But being in a family situation, in a home situation where like literally all the people around you are the only people that you get to interact with, but also you're competing with them. So I'm sure that a lot of people she had to fight against were people that she had some kind of connection to. Like even if they didn't bond in the way that we would have thought, it's difficult to like not make connections with people. Humans want to connect. We want to have at least one person that we can feel some kind of greater connection to, and I'm sure that Endorsi latched onto certain people that if nothing else she respected. But she's the one who ended up being a princess of Jihad, which means that she beat the competition. So I'm sure that there are lots of people that she got even close to bonding with that she eventually had to fight and didn't really turn out with both of them making it out. So I'm sure that that would also make her see herself as being evil. Like how can you hurt those that you feel closest with, even if it's not what we would think of as like actual bonding relationship. Ooh, she's got a weapon now. I wonder what the plan is now, Endorsi, because you've taken it to the fisherman to your great stability. So does that mean that what? We're helping the person who's it? We're going to find Bomb? What's the plan now? How do we end this test? Oh, look, I was totally on your side at the beginning when you first showed up. Thought you were sweet. Can't forgive you for what you did to Bomb. Rachel, I'm still on the fence about, okay? I've never gotten a good vibe from Rachel. Not that I want anyone to get hurt. Obviously, awful in all situations. Probably terrifying for her. But I remember the look that you put on Bomb's face. The absolute heartbreak that was Bomb's facial expression. I remember, and that was all you. So I don't trust you anymore. He's always gonna show up anyway. He's stubborn that way. Bomb is like incredibly loyal. It's just part of who he is. Oh, just it breaks my heart that he's like begging her to be okay. Oh, you have to take personal responsibility. You need to realize that you have an active part in what's going on. I do really wonder if Bomb would give up without Rachel. Because I said before, like, he has other reasons for being in the tower. Would he leave Kun and Shibitsu and Hats? I don't think so. I think that there's so much more to Bomb's motivation now. But also I feel like it might affect his relationships with those people, not because he is afraid of being betrayed or something like that, but because he'll be afraid of it being used against him. Like, I'm sure that he's intelligent enough to be like, oh, Rachel got hurt because of me, and he's gonna see that as the connection between those two events. So he's gonna blame himself for Rachel getting hurt because it's that connection between them. And I wonder if that will affect how he interacts with his other friends, because people know that he's friends with Kun and Shibitsu and Hats and all of the other ones and Dorsey. Like, are people going to try to manipulate him using those people as well? I mean, probably. I don't see, I mean, maybe Ho will continue to make it up the tower. Can't there only be like 2 of the wave controllers though? I think it'll probably be Lorray and Bomb that make it. Who were friends. Past tense. Oh, you really messed up. Oh, don't break his heart again. You know who signed the paper and lived up to it? Kun. Just saying. Even he was like, this paper is binding. That was so cute, the way that he just like helped out all the people that were on the paper. It's not true though, Bomb. You do have friends. Ooh, are we getting a whole backstory? I am a little interested in that one. Who's the big scary? What is it? Oh, is there like some survivor's guilt too? So this is this feeling of an imbalance of power past trauma, which makes sense, unfortunately. But if you see the world as being like unfair and you think that you have to like take power from other people, it's usually a learned behavior. Like I talked before about like Dorsey, like she sees the take from others so you can succeed. It's just a normal thing in life. You have to do that. If you want to survive, you have to take it from somebody else. And I feel like Ho sees this imbalance of power, meaning that anyone who's more powerful than him has to be a monster, has to be awful, because that's his experience, that's his trauma. So I understand, but I don't approve, if that makes sense. No, wait, hold on. I know I said harsh things, but I didn't mean this far. Oh, even Bomb looks terrified. I'm with you. Somebody protect him from himself. No, wait, hold on. I need some emotional support because I feel like this is not going to have a good ending. Oh, it's the girl from before. Serena? Someone told me in a comment, reminding me of her name. Quant looking unfazed in a way. But that kind of goes back to what I talked about before of like him experiencing tragedy and death and violence a lot, I'm assuming, as a ranker. And I'm sure that since he's gone off the tower before, with, I'm assuming, a whole other group of people, he's seen something like this happen before. And then as a ranker who like instructs people and is in charge of certain tests and stuff like that, probably not the first time it's happened to either. Like, he's probably seen this kind of thing a lot, depending on how long he's been doing this, which is kind of up in the air because rankers are really ambiguous with age and stuff. The fact that even after everything that went on, Bomb is still upset by this. I am too. I might cry. Like, legitimately, I can like feel myself getting emotional. No, the why is everyone leaving me breaks my heart. It's so close to what Dorsey said too. When I see people cry, I cry. I don't have tissues with me. I wasn't prepared. Well, why can't he go with them? Why not? Why does this feel like it's an important shot? Like I should be seeing something in the symbolism. Like what are the floaty things? I feel like that's one of the normal weapon things that we've seen. Almost like the Black March, which is with Anak now. Ooh, I like that. He's a baby tiger and he can't run with house cats. That's like such a cool way of wording how Bomb kind of feels. Because at the beginning, it's like, you have a baby tiger, they're so small and they do kind of fit in with just like normal house cats. They're a little bit bigger anyway, but not like super noticeably, but they're gonna grow really quickly. So it's just, I like the metaphor of it. Ooh, is that Dorsey? I thought maybe she was going to where Bomb was. I feel like that's like such a key thing to Endorsey too, of like she doesn't expect happy endings. I feel like that's so tragic, but also so telling of her own backstory. I feel like there are so many characters at this point in the tower that just don't expect happy endings. I feel like Bomb's becoming one of those people. Even though I don't want him to, I knew it was gonna happen. The other tiger, yeah. And Dorsey's also got a lot going on. I wasn't expecting to almost cry during these chapters, but here we are. Okay, chapter 50. Hopefully I don't cry this time. We'll find out. Are we just trying to be creepy, like as creepy as possible in Dorsey? Like what's the plan here? She's just so open about it though, and I feel like there's still this, I don't know, I really feel like Endorsey is just trying to fit into the persona of being someone who is ruthless. I mean, I know she is to some extent. Like, I definitely think that she's willing to do whatever it takes to survive and be the strongest one there and stuff like that. But I also feel like she's doing it because she feels like there's no other path for her to take. And I think that's why we've seen her a few times throughout this series so far where she's asked about alternatives, ways out, like when she was talking to Anak and she's like, did it work when your mom left? Like, was there a happy ending, at least for a little while? And I'm sure that if she ever finds a way to get out of her situation, I think she'll probably take it. Helping her get free? Oh, probably not a good idea to slap her though. I feel like she might forgive it, but risky move though. Oh, is Endorsey it? Is that a confirmation of her being it? I thought maybe she would be, because she's like the leader, or she took charge. Yeah, definitely don't hit her face. She feels very strongly about her looks. I also think Endorsey probably could win this round for them. What's Quant doing? Are we just like not paying attention to him? Yeah, I don't understand the stars. I've tried to justify what the stars means, but I also think it's important to think about how you literally can't reach the stars. Like, you can't get there. Even if we go like full science, okay? Stars, giant ball of burning gas. You can't get close to it. You'll burn up. Now also thinking about Icarus. But same sort of vibe, okay? You get too close to the sun, and all you do is burn. I feel like Bomb also, just to answer Endorsey's question here, I feel like Bomb's following her because she's all he had before coming into the tower. And he just feels so strongly about that connection because it was just her. That was all there was. And then he came into the tower and he met all these other people, but like that doesn't, I think, take away the loyalty that Bomb feels towards her. Like, so much of how he thinks about himself and the world was filtered through Rachel's perspective. And he's got lots of other influences now, but that's still, the foundation of who he is still very influenced by Rachel. Who does Endorsey specifically want to go up the tower with? Bomb? Rachel? Anak? I don't know anymore. It was an Anak. It's like they're not close and they don't actually get along, but probably. I mean, I feel like also Anak earned a certain amount of respect from Endorsey, and I think that Anak represents the freedom that Endorsey wants. Someone who broke the rules of the Princess of Jihad and is doing her own thing anyway. You know, like Anak's mom stepping away from being a Princess of Jihad, and then this Anak herself just going and doing her own thing and breaking the rules and not caring about them. And I feel like that's so much of what Endorsey wants. Like, she acts very carefree, but she very much fits into the systems around her. Like, she's decided early on that going with the system was the way for her to survive. Anna saw that going against the system was her way to survive. They're like different sides of the same coin, and I feel like there's a kindred feeling to how Endorsey sees Anak. I don't know how Anak feels about Endorsey. I feel like Anak mostly just feels general rage outwardly, so I don't know how Anak feels about her, but I'm sure that Anak also wants a sense of family in a way that she hasn't had really since she was a really little kid. Even her parents were a little bit rocky. We saw that they had some fighting going on too, so I'm sure that stability isn't something that she's ever really understood. I love how Shibitsu's like there with the mirror, being supportive. Oh, I like the eating metaphor. I just kind of like clicked in my head that before, her whole thing was that she defeated people so she could get food, so she could eat and survive. So that's like her way of like the reason that she takes people out, because that's like so that she can eat, so that she can have that sustenance to keep going. I feel like that's an important thing too, of her saying I couldn't think of anything else to do. I feel like that falls into her just not knowing another way. this is the only life that she knows. It's the only tactic that she knows. And I feel like she's saying, like, that's what my heart told me to do. I feel like that's not true, though. I feel like it isn't her heart telling her to do these things. I feel like it's almost like a habitual thing. Like, she just acts and behaves in these repeating patterns because that's what was reinforced for her as a kid. And she just, like, continues to go back to it, even though I really do think a part of her doesn't think it's the right thing to do. I think part of her is very bothered by the fact that that's her instinct that she has now, is, you know, to eat or be eaten. That's just like how her brain works now. But I think her heart wants her to be something else. I feel so many things. I feel like I have so many feelings and like certain ideas that are like, I almost have a firm grasp on. There's so many things that I'm thinking of, and I'm like, I don't want to say anything because I feel like I don't have enough information yet. But I feel like this is gonna be a moment that I look back on when stuff happens later, and I'm gonna be like, I remember that moment. I definitely think that Baum will take the option of helping Rachel reach her dream. I think Baum is far more open to the idea of getting hurt himself than seeing people he cares about get hurt. He's definitely gonna help Rachel up the tower. He's gonna do it, even though I don't know how to feel about her, but he's gonna. Oh, I love the transition between her laying down there and then her laying down back in like his memory. I love shots that line up like that. I love how confident Dorsey is. Like, warranted. She has been the one to like survive, you know, over and over again up to this point. Just so confident though. So she does have the badge. I thought maybe she would. I mean, she's one of the stronger ones, and also if she took control, I'm sure that she would want it for her to have it. I feel like she only trusts herself with that kind of responsibility. She wouldn't want someone to get caught while she was trying to fight these fishermen. Like, if she hadn't defeated them yet and then the round was over, the test was over, she would have not gotten what she wanted. So it makes sense for her to have the badge. Ooh, I love how you can see like Quant kind of smirking, playing around, and then this one, he's full serious ranker mode again. Ooh, I don't know why I love that shot, but I do. Whoa, okay. Ooh, so she figured out how to use the power of his sword that she took. Interesting. Yeah, there's no way that Baum isn't helping Rachel go see the stars, even if it means that he has to suffer in exchange. I don't agree with it, but I understand. Oh, see, line up the shot again. Love it. It's just satisfying. Yeah, see, that's a good point too. Like, he's seeing Ho lose all his hope, and he's like, there's nothing left. It's all over now, and giving up. And I'm sure that he's gonna take that and think, well, what if I take away Rachel's dream? Like, the reason that Rachel survived up to this point is because she had this dream of getting to the stars. And if you take that away and she can never have it again, what is she left with? And I think that that's something that even she's aware of, because I keep bringing it up because I think it's important, that the imagery of her having her like dream of her finally reaching the top of the tower, the sky, the stars, and then there's nothing around, and she sees that there's Baum with other people and has something that she doesn't, and she realizes that she's just there in her dream all alone, and it wasn't the end like she thought it would be. And I'm sure that she'll have to deal with it eventually, because if she does make it to the tower, then what? What happens when she reaches the top? I don't know. I remember Dorsey being like, why does he have an igniting weapon? And I guess that's why she decided to take it with her. But also because, like, Dorsey doesn't have like a specific weapon. She has like the disc things that she uses, but other than that, she tends to rely on like her physical body or like taking weapons from people. Like when she was doing the chase test thing with Anak, she was like using the other participants in the test as like shields and weapons and something to maneuver around. So she's really good at like adapting to her environment and what is like directly available to her, instead of like coming in with a specific weapon or skill set necessarily. Uh-oh. We still haven't quite figured out what Quant's thing is. The thing that he was going to do that scared Lororo. I'm just saying. See, isn't that the thing that was floating next to Bomb? Is that like what it was, where it's like an inventory of some kind? Because it looks like she has like the needle weapon with her. So is that why he had the floating things? They're part of like the inventory he was collecting? I feel like it was so long ago when we learned about all of that with like Hedon. Those facial expressions though. I think that's kind of the look that you get when you've been training as a fighter for a long time, because I feel like you don't, as much as I want to say like Dorsey is like a better person than she thinks, nobody gets this far in a confrontational environment without enjoying fighting a little bit. And I'm sure that when you get to a certain level where there are people who are so strong and so skilled and they've been doing this for so long, the only people there are the ones that enjoy fighting. And maybe not to the point of seeking it out all the time, but I'm sure a certain part of them wants to be fighting because it's what they're good at. It's what they know. Like if you ever have some kind of skill that you're just really good at, you enjoy being a part of that like flow of doing something that you know you're really skilled at, you're really good at. You have a confidence to it. So I'm sure that Endorsi and Quant love the idea of being up against someone who is legitimately a challenge and they're going to have to actually fight them. Poor Ho, though. I mean, I still don't forgive him, but I understand. I don't know if he'll survive, though. And I don't know what that'll mean. What does he do after this point? Because even if he survives, it's still like a symbolic death. Like he's going to have to find a way of functioning in the world post this event. Like he's not going to make it up the tower. And also, the person that he was trying to hurt is going out of his way to try and save him. Like Bam isn't holding a grudge. It's probably something that Ho doesn't understand. Are you gonna help out, Bob? What's the plan? No, wait. I always want more. So quite a few feelings coming out of that one. Some tears, some frustration, some worry generally about what's going on, which not really anything new. I'm a worrier. I feel a lot of things. But I also feel like this feels like such a tonal shift. And I'm not saying that Tower of God hasn't been intense at times before now, but I feel like there was kind of a fun and games kind of aspect. I know that we had the opening round on Evan Kell's floor where like a lot of people died and that was really intense, but then there was kind of this false sense of camaraderie, I guess, like people kind of getting along generally and just like going to classes and training, and even with the bonus round when they were all kind of fighting each other, there was still like teams and this feeling that you could like make alliances with each other and stuff like that. And even like it's a bonus round, it's not even high stakes really in terms of you're not going to be kicked out of the tower or anything like that. Whereas this one really feels like everyone is more aware of how like important going up the tower is for all of the individual characters, but also what they're willing to do to make that happen, like how much they want it, and just showing how ruthless they're willing to be to make that happen. And maybe part of that tonal shift is because Bam was kind of the light, you know, he was innocent and trusting and had this kind of childish wonder to him, and even he's starting to realize how tough the tower is and how dangerous it is and how it really is a place that attracts deviants and people who are willing to do pretty much anything to get what they want. And seeing his like optimism fade a little bit, I think is really going to affect a lot of the characters in the story, because I feel like they very much relied on him bringing that feeling of joy and innocence because they didn't really have that for themselves. And now that he's starting to kind of lose some of that, it's gonna be a very different feeling to it all. I'm very interested to see what happens after Team B's test. I feel like we're coming to a close because if we have Endorsi versus Quant, which I'm actually kind of excited to see. I didn't know I wanted that matchup so badly, but I think it'll be a cool fight if nothing else. But that's, you know, the ranker versus the person who's it. This is going to be the moment where we kind of figure out whether or not they're going to pass or lose. And I really don't know what the outcome is going to be, honestly. I think Endorsi can hold her own pretty well, but also, again, never really seen a ranker full-out fight before, so I'm sure that Quant will surprise me in some way, but I want to know what it's going to be like after, when, like, Team B is just going to be back in, like, the little dorm things they were staying in, interacting with Team A again, like, Team A not really knowing what's going on because they don't have the visual anymore. It's going to be different. It's going to feel different, and I'm not sure what that means totally, but I guess we're gonna get some kind of fight in the next chapter and maybe see the end of what's going on, maybe save some people who got hurt. Yeah, I just feel a lot of things after that. I feel a lot of things. I have a lot of thoughts that I'm sure when I read the next chapters, if I let them simmer for a little bit, I might have some other observations later on. So I hope you enjoyed reading those chapters along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you don't miss the next time I post a Tower of God video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!